Hello, I am Lynn Yurdes and welcome to my Blu-ray/DVD repair show. My goal in this show is to demonstrate various Blu-ray/DVD repair techniques, specifically as it relates to packaging issues and damages. I think you know what I'm talking about. Oftentimes we find ourselves as consumers purchasing motion picture films, television programs, and short films on disc from either a brick and mortar store or from an online retailer. I think you know who I'm talking about. Many of the packaging designs and decisions we may not agree with, for various reasons, of which I will name three. Number one, too big. Number two, too ugly. And number three, this does not represent well the film that I love. This video is meant only to remedy physical imperfections in the actual packaging materials. It is not meant as a critique of the chimpanzees at the major studios who Photoshop giant heads on DVD covers all day. Now to begin. I love films, and one of my favorites of all time is Citizen Kane. Fortunately for film lovers like myself, this great film was very recently released on Blu-ray by Warner Brothers Pictures. Now, on to the packaging. The Citizen Kane 70th Anniversary Blu-ray 3-disc Ultimate Collector's Edition. This box is pretty fine. It's what you might call good looking. Let's take a look at it. Impressive. Sorry to say, however, that my edition did not arrive in perfect shape, and I do not like to return things to the store/online retailer. I think you know who I'm talking about. If you are the same as me and would like for me to show you a few tips to repair your box set, I can do that very thing right here and now. Here's a quick look at the tools that you will need in order to complete the repair today. Shall we open this thing up then? I'm thinking the answer is yes. Let's start with the superfluous materials, or unnecessary bits. A little folder that contains reproductions of lobby cards and office memos, and a mini reproduction of the souvenir program for the opening of the film. This is the type of thing that ordinarily I can do without. All I really need is just the best possible representation of the film itself. But in this case, an older classic film, I cannot get enough of these. These are beautiful, really. I am more than a little pleased to have these little bits. Okay. Mine arrived without any tears, rabbit ears, or dents. Congratulations to me. No repair needed here. Warner Brothers, please take notice. If you can, you really need to reproduce the original 2001 A Space Odyssey souvenir program for a more archival Blu-ray release of another of the greatest films of all time. I'd buy it. Not sure how you are going to convert it over, but you have a lot of money, so you can figure that part out. Now, the 48-page book with photos, storyboards, and behind-the-scenes info. I don't know where this red came from, but anyway, the book is nice looking, especially if you like looking at storyboards printed on deep red. I am sure there is someone out there who got a kick out of that. I don't know, maybe this is an error, but I can ignore it because really there are only a couple of storyboards in there anyway. So it's more for decoration than anything else. The whole book is actually mostly photographs, and most of it is respectful to Mr. Wells. I would rather it not mention the RKO 281 HBO film at all, but it does. Maybe I'll black out that line on page 43 at a later date with my Sharpie. Okay, the last part of the three-part packaging is the Digifold case. Here we go. Again, some nice photographs as you unfold this. But darn it, there are several issues with my packaging already when you see it opened. I think you know what I'm talking about. If your package is like mine, and from what I can tell on the interweb message boards it is, you may also need these same repairs or touch-ups. The first hub holds the only Blu-ray disc, but that's fine because this is the only one with Citizen Kane on it. This discard is so cute in an ugly overall packaging design kind of way. My discard has arrived obviously damaged. You can see here that Orson is sharing the disc with two actresses. This actress here plays Charles Foster Kane's first wife. A minor role but important role. And this actress here plays the madam from the brothel scene. And when I say brothel scene, of course, I mean the brothel scene that was cut entirely from the film. Now, Warner Brothers does own this image of the actress, so maybe they really can put her image on any disc they want to, even though she does not appear in the film. For example, maybe they could suggest a love triangle between her, Pee Wee Herman, and his bicycle. You can see her here coveting the bicycle. Or maybe you can hint at a possible love quadrangle between her, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, and Robert De Niro. Who knows? Luckily, we do have several available repair techniques to repair the love triangle on this disc. If you look 5 inches to the left, you will find a nice photograph of Charles Foster Kane's actual second wife in the film. It is the perfect size for the job. However, it's printed on a very thick cardstock, and if we glue that stock to the disc, I have the fear that it will affect how the disc plays in your machine. You may pursue this technique on your own, but I choose to go with the easier technique number 2. Simply use the Bugs Bunny postage stamp from several years ago and apply it over the face of the madam. There, love triangle repaired. Next up, Hub 2, The Battle Over Citizen Kane, nominated for the 1995 Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. But if your set is like mine and has this damage, then follow my lead. I think this one can be repaired simply with my brick and hammer combo. Now, the first thing you'll notice after the repair is done is that the disc will no longer fit in the Digifold disc hub. So we're going to use this clear plastic 1995 Best Doc Feature nominee sleeve. Simply slide the disc in here and place in a new, more appropriate special edition box/garbage can. Third hub, RKO 281. Where to begin with this abomination? Excellent actors in a big giant ball of lies, possibly inspired by the previously mentioned Crapumentary. Made for our viewing pleasure by HBO Films and the Scott Brothers. And this thing won awards, evidently. Emmy Awards, Golden Globes. Now, let's repair this disc. And so, yep. Then we place in the clear plastic 1999 Emmy Golden Globe winning sleeve, then shelve appropriately. And now to the reverse side of the Digipack. Pardon me, graphic sexual images? My Citizen Kane Blu-ray package now warns of some graphic sexual images because they included the HBO Scott Brothers piece of crap. Congratulations on that, Orson. I'm sure that's what you always wanted. Seriously though, Warner Brothers, Scott Brothers, HBO Brothers, get a room. A movie made in the early 40s should be at least 10 inches away from anything that includes graphic sexual images. It's a fairly simple task to cut away the damaged area, including all these little logos of companies that do not belong. The estate of Orson Welles. Who are these people? Is he your dad or your grandpa or whatever? Do you even exist? If somebody lies about Linyard S's dad, that somebody's going to be wearing his buttocks for a hat. And the Scott brothers? You mean to tell me you don't know any better? Hopefully your estates won't be sleeping when hacks start making docudramas and crapumentaries about your lives. How did you get involved in this anyway? Let's role play for a second. Now I don't know exactly how this conversation happened or went down, but there is a very minute chance that it happened exactly like this. Greetings, Tony, my brother. Yes, Ridley. Good afternoon. Tony, can I ask you a question? Yes, you may, Ridley. Do you ever get, intimidated by a dead man? What? I mean, if you think someone is so much more talented than you, even though they have been dead for years, that you still get all scared and stuff on the inside. Oh God, yes. You are talking about that fat bastard Orson Welles, right? He makes me feel inadequate sometimes. Right. I don't know, maybe we would feel less threatened if we make believe. Yes, let's play. We can make believe that everything he wrote or came up with for his amazing film Citizen Kane came directly from something he saw. Yes, he took everything from somewhere. Stolen almost. Like he couldn't have done it on his own. Wow, I do think that would make me feel less threatened.
We just need a pet monkey.
Okay then, back to me to finish up the repair work. If we examine the digipack closely, we now notice that we have 2 empty hubs. I don't think we can leave them empty because that will only remind me of the time in 2011 when our good friend Warner Brothers really dropped the ball on their greatest movie. So, we can choose to fill these hubs with good DVDs. Maybe we'll choose Warner Brothers DVDs that were originally given bad packaging themselves and would prefer to live here in this nice beautiful box along with Citizen Kane. Like The Outlaw Josie Wales and Pale Rider. There. One big happy set now. I am pleased, and no longer embarrassed, to have it on my shelves. Maybe next time Warner Brothers can talk to people who might have something nice to say about Orson, or at least respectful. Maybe try out that tactic for supplemental features. He was not a one-hit wonder as implied by your sick documentary. He was just a guy with a large ego who was actually much more talented than the people around him, and even more talented than the people working in the business today. Supplements should be meant to supplement the film, not tear it down or disrespect or even insult the artist. I think you know what I'm talking about. P.S. Have a nice evening. Please join me for my next show, Fixing in the Name of the King and the Patriot. You will need your hammer and your brick for this repair.